Hello guys, and welcome back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. So guys, in today's video I'll be showing you guys how to make an inbuilt corset on a flay gown. So this was what we did. So this is like a part of the process of the video. So in this video I'm going to show you guys how to do the cutting. So we're going to just do the pattern drafting alone, and then in the next video, which I'm going to be posting in the next 2 days, we're going to learn how to do the sewing so that we don't rush it. Okay, so this is my pattern paper. I am just trying to label all of my lines. So that first line that I have there, that's the shoulder line. So you add your shoulder measurement, you divide by 2, and then I'll come down by 1 inch and then mark it, so that will serve as my shoulder slope. Okay, so from there to this next line that I have here is my armhole measurement. So I mark a line, and then this is going to be for my armhole. So you divide your armhole measurement into 2, and then you create a curve around it. So the next line that I have here now, so these are the measurements that I'm going to be using for this corset, inbuilt corset flay gown. So guys, so yes, even though it is a flay gown, but we're still going to be making it like an inbuilt corset. Okay, so those are all of my measurements. So that's my bust line measurement. So on that bust line measurement, I'm going to add my bust measurement, divide by 4, and then I'll just mark it. So what I'm basically doing now is like a basic bodice, and then this next line is my under bust line. So I'll add my under bust circumference, divide by 4, and then add 1 inch for that, and then add allowance. And then this next line that I have here is my waist measurement. So this waist measurement, I'm going to add my waist measurement. So mind you, my bust line, the first line, which is my bust line, is 10 inches. That's the length from the shoulder. And then the under bust is 13. And then that waist is 17. And then this last line that I have here is my hip measurement, so which is about 21. So I'll just add all of the measurements there, and then I'll mark it. So like I said, this is just a basic body. So this is a basic bodice. If you already know how to draft a basic bodice. As for somebody that wants to learn how to do a corset is not really for beginners like that. So that's just the truth. So you cannot be a beginner and start learning how to do corset. So there are some things you need to master first, and then before you do that. So the next thing I'm doing now, I'm just adding my dart. So if you know how to do a basic bodice already, this is it. You can see this is a simple process of just drafting a basic bodice. So the next thing I want to do here, I want to take out 2 inches because I'm going to be adding eyelets to my corset. So I want to take out 2 inches, even though from the beginning I did not add any zip allowance, you understand? So I still cut out 2 inches. So this other right hand side, I'm just going to divide that side into 2. The reason I'm dividing it is because I'm going to use that side. That's where I'm going to place my boning chambers. So you just need to cut it out and arrange it from the beginning. So that back, I'm going to extend that line to that my armhole line, because why did I extend it? So that the back will not be too deep. So that's why. So that line now will not serve as the neckline for the back. Okay, so you can see. So I'll cut out every piece, just label all of my pattern so that I don't get them mixed up. So that's the essence of doing all of those labeling. So you can see, so this is the back piece. So even the side I'm going to put the eyelet, I had to notch it. So the next thing now, we're going to do the front. So we're going to go through the same process, adding our shoulder line on our line, shoulder measurement, divide by 4, divide by 2, and then marking it, and then I'll just create a slope. Okay, so this is now what we're drafting now, is basically a bust here. So from there I'll come down by 7 inches, which is for my armhole, and then I'll mark it. So this line now, if you notice this one, I'm going to mark it straight. So this will serve as my chest line. Okay, so from that line now, I'm going to take half of that armhole measurement. I'll just like check half of it, of that line. So for you to get your armhole round, so just divide your bust circumference into 6 and then add 1.5. So that will help you to know how to come down on that line that I got 7 inches. So you can see all of my lines. So that the next thing I'm going to do now, I want to mark a dart. So I came to the hip line, I'll use my bust span measurement, which is 4 inches, is 8. You divide that into two. I'm going to have 4 inches. So that 4 inches, I mark it across all of my lines. So mind you, the lines that I have here, the first line is the chest line, the second one is the bust point, the third one is the under bust. That will place my hand this now. That's the under bust. So I want to take my dart. So for the dart, I want to use 2.5 inches dart. So on this side where I'm marking now, I use 1 inch, and this side I mark now, I use 1.5 inches. So it's just like your basic bust here. So the next thing, I'm going to create a curve just to get that bust here curve for this inbuilt corset. Okay, so I'll just curve it now. Even though it is an inbuilt corset, you still need to follow this process. So the next thing I want to do, I want to extend that part a little. The reason for extending it is the more you go up, the more covered your corset is going to be, since I'm going to be making my own bra cups. So the next thing I did on this side, I'm going to tighten that part. So I use half of an inch. Since it is a small size, I just use half of an inch. So I marked it to the right and then marked to the left, and then blend it to that bust point. Can you see? So you can see my curves are well formed. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I want to create my neckline. So it depends on how deep. Most times I usually don't like really deep neckline. So I came in by 1 inch, that point. So that's going to be the center of our corset, and then just marked it to the bust point. So the reason for doing this is just to give me like a guide, okay? So the next thing, I'll just create a curve. So for that curve, you can create it however you want it. Depends on how deep you want it to be. You understand? So the next thing, after curving that one, the other side of the cups, I curved it into, let it enter into the armhole. So just see the curve. You can see the curve. Then from that line, so that line is a guide. Why is it a guide? It's a guide for me so that I'll be able to create that curve, this curve that I want to do now. Yes, so that is why I marked that line. So I just don't want to put my pattern curve. So it is an optional something. So you can see, so you see, help me to blend it nicely. The next thing, for me to form the cup on the other side, on the right side, I'll check what I have there. I'll add half of an inch to it, and then create, just curve it in. Just curve it now to meet the under bust line. So because the bust is usually fuller on that left hand side, so that's the armpit area. So that is why I added half of an inch to what I have from this cup. That's the side of this cup. So you can see our corset is well formed for our inbuilt corset, our flare gown inbuilt corset. So the next thing, now we're going to take our full measurement. So on that chest line, I'll mark my bust circumference line. That's bust circumference divide by 4. And then remember that contour that I took for that snatch on that top, that over bust. So you add that 1 inch back, and then add your sewing allowance. And then on this under bust, I'm going to take my under bust measurement, divide by 4. I'll mark it, and then my dart, I'll bring that back into my pattern, my 2.5 inches dart. I'll bring that back into my pattern, and then I'll add just a little bit of stitching allowance, and then I'll mark it. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to mark, I'll come to my waistline. So you divide your waist measurement by 4, and then you take that you put that back into your pattern, and then add your stitching allowance. So since it is an inbuilt corset, you really don't need much allowance like that. Just like 1 inch is enough. Okay, it depends on how tight you want that waist area to be. The next thing, this last line, which is the hip line, I'll just mark my hip measurement, and then add my dart intake back, and then add a little bit of allowance back into that pattern, and then curve it. So you can see, this is how simple it is to draft a corset. For those of you that have been following me, drafting a corset should not be a problem again. So on this right hand side, what I did, I just divided what I have there by 2. Why did I do that? Because I want to use it for boning chamber. So I'll just mark it in like this. So this, you can see the line is not straight. Yes, I did not want it to be straight, so that my bonings will not just be standing straight. And then from my original dart, I took out half of an inch, because I want it to be a snatch waist. Even though it is a flare corset, you understand, even though it is a flare gown, but yes, I still snatched it. Yeah, I want that waist area to look a little bit small. So I took out 1 inch from this side, and then this other side, I'm going to take out 1 inch from it also. So I just marked it, so I'll just cut out, so you can see me cutting this out. So I'll label all of my cups and then label everything. So at this point, if you find this video helpful, please hit on the like button, and if you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, like the video, share the video with your friends. If you have questions, drop your questions on the comment section.